Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nomadic Timbo. Today I'm going to ask a very interesting question actually. Is Wales a very underrated country to visit? Before I answer that, I'll just tell you that one of the reasons for this video is because 99% of the time I've been traveling, particularly on the backpacking scene for the last 12 years. You find out that there's very, very few Welsh people who actually travel in that kind of way. I mean, sure, there's a lot of people that go on, like all-inclusive kind of holidays, which is fine. I mean, when you have a family, it's definitely the easiest way to do a holiday, for sure. But yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, but very rarely do I come across people from the same country as me when I travel solo. It doesn't matter where it is really, whether it's like Asia, Latin America. I did meet a few in Australia and New Zealand, but still like not that many compared to other people from the British Isles. But having said that, you don't see a lot of Scots, I find a lot of times, as well as Welsh, but I mean that's another story. But yeah, the Welsh are definitely the rarest when it comes to people who do that kind of travelling. And it's very interesting because for me, like virtually everybody I meet on my travel is from another country to me, and automatically that makes it fascinating because I just have like a natural intrigue to find out how things operate in different people's countries. I mean, I've met so many people from different nationalities now, so I kind of have a good idea, and because of countries I have traveled before, I have a good idea how quite a lot of them operate. I mean, obviously you can't generalize too much because there's good and bad people wherever you go, and there's people in between as well. So you shouldn't really automatically assume that just because of what people tell you from each country that that's exactly how it is, because different people say different things sometimes. But yeah, I just find it very, 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 very interesting and kind of weird that I mean, yes, of course, we got a small population. We only have like 4 million people, but yet you do see more. I mean, obviously England has got by far the biggest population in the British Isles, but yet you still see quite a few more people from Scotland and Ireland who travel compared to Wales, and the population difference is not that great, if I'm honest. So what's that got anything to do with asking if Wales is underrated? Well, sadly, and I don't know why this is, but I'll give my theories a little bit later on. But when it comes to countries in the British Isles, Wales just doesn't really get visited as much as the others, and it's kind of a shame really, because it's a country that really has a lot to offer. And it's kind of ironic that I'm saying this because I've had such itchy feet, and I've had such a drug to go traveling to as many places as I could over the last 12 years. But the funny thing is that after being in Sri Lanka for more than 1.5 years and just coming back to Wales recently for the last couple of months, I've really started to grow a bigger appreciation of where I'm from, because, and I don't care which part of the world you're from, it's so easy to take your home country for granted. But since I've taken an interest in like photography, when I've been looking around at the scenery, a bit like what's behind me right here in the Brecon Beacons, you find out, wow, I mean, the scenery is breathtaking in this country. And then you think to yourself, man, why have I taken it for granted so much? I mean, admittedly, I think it's important to travel definitely when you're younger, because when you're younger, I think you have more of an opportunity to grow and develop as a human being if you go out of your comfort zone. Having said that, the last couple of months has really made me understand that, yeah, you should definitely have a look at your own country. I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't. I mean, yes, I've been around quite a few parts of Wales before filming this video. But I guess the fact that I'm getting into photography has just made me grow a deeper appreciation of what Wales has to offer. So, is it underrated? Yes, it is, because I was hinting this earlier on, but there's not that many people who visit Wales from different countries. In fact, what's really hilarious is that when I go traveling, People ask, well, where are you from? And I say, oh, I'm from Wales. And they're like, Wales? Is that part of England? Or Wales? I don't know where that is. Is it a city or something? Wales. Where's that exactly? And then I think, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool though, because I mean, even though it does get repetitive explaining to people, you know, where Wales is, or the fact that it's actually its own country, even though it can be a little bit confusing for people when you explain that the United Kingdom is a country and yet it's got four countries in the country. So yeah, I mean, don't ask me to explain that on this video because I want to keep it short. But yeah, no, so the reason I wanted to make this video is not being, I'm not saying that I'm flying the flag for my country or I'm being biased or anything like that. It's just that objectively, it is a stunner of a country, and it's just a shame really that there's not that many international people who check it out compared to England, Scotland and Ireland. I mean, like what really helps Scotland, for example, I mean there's many things obviously because of the traditions and the culture, but like when big budget movies are filmed in a certain country like Braveheart was in Scotland, I know that tourism increased dramatically when that happened. So maybe that's the answer. I mean, I thought that like Wales, you know, getting through to the semi-finals of the Euros a few years ago would be enough to put us on the map a little bit. Consistently doing well in rugby, but yeah, for some reason there's a lot of people who haven't heard about it. But I think that's a good thing though, if you actually come and visit, because if you visit Wales now, then you're not really going to come across that many tourists. It's only really the capital of Cardiff, I would say, or Swansea. I mean, both of those cities are multicultural. But then as soon as you go outside of them, I don't really think that you meet that many tourists and travellers. And as a result, it's going to be better for you because it's going to give you a much more authentic and local experience. And again, I'm not being biased, but Welsh people overall tend to be a lot of fun to hang around with. I always compare them to the Irish and the Scottish, but particularly the Irish, because they really have like a very fun and welcoming kind of mentality about them. And you know, say for example, you go into a real proper rural town, and then you go into a rural pub and you come from like what we would consider to be an exotic country, then people will naturally take a lot of fascination into where you're from. And obviously that's got to be a good thing, right? Because it means that it's going to lead to fun conversations with the locals. And yeah, you probably end up making friends very quickly because we tend to be that way, definitely. As far as like landscape is concerned, as you can probably see behind me, it's extremely green in large areas of this country. So therefore I would compare it to Ireland a lot. There is a bit of Scotland in there as well when you go up to Mid Wales or North Wales, because the mountains tend to be a bit rockier, I think, whereas like over here in the Brecon Beacons, for example, it's like a little bit more green. But then when you go to the coastlines, that definitely looks like the west coast of Ireland, because we have like really nice beaches and beautiful green coastlines that you can check out. And it's also a really great place to visit for history as well. I mean, in Europe, obviously, we have so many amazing bits of architecture and culture to check out. And Wales is no exception, because we have a lot of castles that came from the Norman era. Because like Britain has been invaded so many times throughout history, but yet yeah, the Norman castles have really survived particularly well. I mean, they are ruins, most of them now, but I'd say a lot of them are really intact quite well, actually, considering that they're approaching 1,000 years old now. I mean, obviously we got like more recent castles throughout history that you can check out that are really, really cool as well. The good thing is too, is that say for example you fly into London, I think it only takes about roughly 4 hours to, no, less than that. Sorry, I need to think a little bit. I think it's between 3 and 4 hours for you to cross the border from England into Wales. And then when you cross from the English border into Wales, it only takes you about 2.5 hours to get to the very west. Maybe less than that actually, but I think it's roughly that. So yeah guys, I mean, I mean, I'm not going to explain everything about Wales in this video, of course, because I want to keep it pretty short. But yeah, it's just a way of like saying that it is a country that has a lot to offer, and if you really want like an authentic experience when you visit the British Isles, then I really strongly recommend visiting Wales. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Welshman. It really is objectively a stunner of a country where, you know, you've got like gorgeous scenery like you see behind me here, whether it's in the mountains or whether it's by the coastline. You've got some very rich history, super friendly locals for the most part. Because obviously, as I said, there's good and bad people wherever you go, but I think overall you will have a real friendly greeting and fun greeting. So there you have it, guys. Yeah, I just thought I'd make a video about just explaining that Wales is a very, I mean, you could consider it a hidden gem. In fact, definitely it's a hidden gem as far as European countries are concerned, particularly Western European countries. So yeah, I strongly recommend and encourage you to check it out whenever you have the opportunity. Maybe not this time of the year because it's approaching winter now, but I think spring, summer and autumn, yeah, fantastic time to visit all of them. So yeah, check it out, guys, when you have the opportunity. So yeah, I'll close it out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Ciao.